Good morning. Good morning. Hi, everyone. Let me get some music going. Hopefully. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Saturday. Wow. Look at all of you beautiful people in here. Annie, 7. And Kathy Hand, Danielle, Kathleen Caputo, Jessie. Hi, sweetie. Ricky, and Josie. Yeah, there's definitely angels with each one of you, and I'm always lifting you up in prayer and asking those angels to take care of all my peas. Joanne Castrillo, good morning. Good afternoon, Pat Moss. Tasham, good morning. And Sally, hi, sweetheart. I hope you had a beautiful birthday yesterday. It was so good to have you with us yesterday, Sally. Suzanne, hello. Atasham, you're from Pakistan. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here on the show with us. We lift Pakistan up every day here on the show. We certainly did. I'm always sending angels to every one of you, Kathy, and I'm glad they were there for you yesterday in a big way. So let's go into our hearts this morning. We do the heart-brain coherence every day because it really gets us into a good place individually and collectively. So you place your hand on your heart center. That brings your focus to your heart. It's like the big symbol of a heart behind me. And then you slow down the breathing. Breathe all the way into your lungs, filling them completely. And exhale that slowly. And add in the love. Add in compassion, care. Doesn't that feel good? You're telling your brain, I love you. That's the message you're sending. So everybody right now, just send your brain a message and say, I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for another day alive. Thank you for the way Spirit is very, very present here with us right now in this moment. Love and gratitude. What a great way to start our day. Erica, good morning. Deirdre, hi there. And I thought I saw our Hope Wellington Marshall, that she was watching. I don't see her saying anything, but Hope, if you're watching, or Zena, good morning and thank you for being here. And there's Robin Waters Dykes. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful meeting this morning with all of you wonderful people. And it is the weekend. It's Saturday. It's the day to reflect back and think about what happened this week. What did happen this week? Lots of stuff happened this week. And I just, every day, it's such a miracle that we're still here. We're still going after coming up on 3 years in March that we've been doing this every morning. So thank you all for keeping on, for coming in and showing up. Oh, Kathy, I love that. I love myself, and because I do, I'm open to loving all others. Amen, sister. Well, I'm going to read the blog from last night, and the angels really work with you when you ask them, and they've been giving me the messages so late at night, but they've also got me working on this book that is coming along beautifully. And so I asked them to be gentle with me with the timing so that I can get more work done on the book. And they gave me the blog early last night. I know, right, Erica? Can you believe it's been almost 3 years? It shifts, Kathy, so I don't know how many. I don't know how many we have because my restream has not been acting right. So Auntie Jean just showed up. So there you are. We got her. Okay, so the blog last night was called My Choice. William Faulkner said, "You cannot swim for new horizons until you have courage to lose sight of the shore." I'm not a good swimmer. Let me just put that out there. I grew up beside a river, and I had brothers who would always threaten to throw me in the river. Kids will be kids. I developed a fear of what might happen if they truly did follow through with their threats. My fear and panic just fed their bullying, and it became a weekly event as we walked toward the big church, which was my safety net once I reached it. It wasn't the only way they taunted me. Walking home with them from school was a real challenge as well. We had to cross over a railroad track to get to our street. Many times there would be a train just sitting on the track. If you've ever been close to a stopped train, you will understand that they are huge, especially relative to my small size as a child. They're cold and ominous looking, and you can just feel the power of them when the engine starts up. We had choices: wait for the train to move or climb underneath and make our way home. That was it. There was no other way around it. My brothers chose to go through while I stayed on the other side, petrified that if I crawled underneath, I would surely be cut into pieces by the 1,000-pound train wheel. My mind always cried out, "Danger, danger," when something was not a good idea. They called me a wimp and made fun of me for my inability to take chances. I'm sure they got into trouble when they arrived at home without me, and I can just imagine the explaining they had to do to Mom, not to mention the punishment that was doled out. I became aware of this pattern in my life. My older brothers were supposed to look out for me and take care of me. Later on, I always became aware that those I thought were going to have my back really didn't. I developed an attitude of, if it's to be, it's up to me. It made me more independent. While I still would not choose to crawl underneath the train or willingly go near the riverbank, I knew that if it came down to it, I probably could. I relay these stories because all of our past experiences go into our makeup of who we are in the now moment. My sister used to have a saying that drove me crazy. She would say, "But did you die?" And I would get so mad at her. I didn't feel heard with that comment. Now I'm okay with it because no, I didn't die. Instead, I was transformed. That's the power of knowing what we came through, of what we overcame in life to get to where we are now. Whether it's a train, a river, an abusive partner, an illness, it doesn't matter. They're all teachers. Each experience brings us to a deeper understanding of ourselves. I can only take the journey I am on because I know I am strong and I have no fear of what if. Where it used to be, what if I was thrown into the river and drowned? Now it is, what if I could swim and make it to the shore? It's all perspective. Later in my teen years, I experienced the reality of my worst nightmare coming true. I was thrown into the ocean because there was a belief that I could swim. And after going under 3 times, I was rescued and did not actually drown. It was the perfect example, however, of what we focus on, we call to us. Dear angels, I believe we always have choices in life. If we believe there's only one way out of a situation, then we are boxing ourselves in and not allowing the knowingness of just how powerful we are. I became brave because I chose to not be a victim. I don't like the victim me. I like the brave me a whole lot better. Dear ones, you will always have a choice, no matter what the circumstance. There are those among you who choose to, quote, check out of your human experience because you are looking at the what if in a way that seems only to end in the worst possible scenario, or you see no end to the pain you are feeling, whether physical, mental, or emotional. We say to you that if you were to step back and become the observer for just a moment, you would see things with much more clarity. That feeling of helplessness is there because you have not explored all possibilities. You only looked at your situation with eyes of fear, just as Teri became fearful of the body of water, knowing in her mind that if she were to find herself being thrown in, it would not end well. She brought that actuality to her later in life, which just reinforced her belief. Dear ones, you create your reality, whether it is with a desired outcome or one that is your worst nightmare. Which do you choose? Where do you want your experiences to take you? You can create a life full of amazing experiences, or you can choose for it not to end well. It truly is your choice. Dear angels, today I promise to stay focused on what I do want instead of what I do not want in my life. So there you have it. Some of my childhood memories coming up last night for whatever reason. And yeah, I had brothers that liked to play tricks, and sometimes they weren't really nice, but I survived, I didn't die. Sometimes I thought I was gonna, but I didn't. All right, so Sally says, Tony's father was a trained man and retired from there. He was an amazing person to know. I have a brother-in-law that retired from the trains. He worked his whole life. going on the trains, being the engineer, being a supervisor, I don't know what they call them. They have a name for them, I'm sure. And then all of the men in his family, his son, his son-in-laws, he had 5 girls. They kept trying for a son. They really wanted one. Never happened. So they had grandsons instead, and he brought them all on the trains. So yeah, it was big in that family. Sally says, I believe we were all master manifested, but few remember how to do it and focus too much on the physical. I know, Sally, that's so true. And that's one reason why we are doing a Spirit Quest vision board, so we can focus on what we do want in our lives, not the material, physical stuff, but what do we want to manifest? Jean L'Oreal said, my father thought throwing you in a lake was the way to teach you to swim. A lot of people thought that. A lot of people threw babies into the pool so that they would know. Well, I don't think they threw them in, but they put them in the pool so they would know what to do. And yeah, that wouldn't have worked with me because I just didn't get it until later in life. I did learn how to swim, but I'm not a good swimmer. I admit that, and I enjoy being in the water, but yeah, I always have to know where the side is. If I swim, I always have to stay where I can touch something. And just like with heights as well. Okay, so I'm pulling the card from Kuan Yin to see what she has to say to us. And Annie says, I'm literally pushing through fear-based thoughts. I'm going to look into next week signing up for cosmetology school. You would be so awesome at that, Annie. So no fear. No. Didn't you hear the blog? It'll be the outcome you want it to be. And you know this, you're a great manifester. So what do you want that to look like? Have that thought, nothing else. There's no other option, just success, and keep that first and foremost in your mind. Yeah, I read it wrong too, Sally. I knew what it was supposed to say, and I said it the way you typed it anyway. And Sally says, my oldest sister swam enter at 10 months old. I don't know what that means. Most adults do. Kathleen Caputo, good morning. Kathleen says, wow, Teri, it's always amazing when we look back at scary or difficult times from childhood and see how it made us stronger and who we've become. It really is amazing. Some of the things that we did as children, wow, I'm amazed that any of us made it out of there alive. Oh, okay. She swims better than most adults, even at 10 months. Okay, I got it now. Sorry. Sometimes I can read autocorrect really well, and sometimes I can't. Kathy says, my older female cousins, the ones that grew up in the house next to me, love to play not so nice tricks on me, teased me relentlessly. I was the youngest out of both our families, and one of them actually apologized to me a few years ago. She said her and her sisters were downright cruel to me. A few of them are still grumpy old women now. Yeah, it's amazing to see the ones that were the bullying type and how they came to be in their adult years. Are they still bullying others? That's the question. Suzanne says, Annie, we'll do the school together, Annie. My class starts February 7th. We can lift each other up. I'm doing phlebotomy, and I know that's going to be great for you, Suzanne. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful career choice for you. You're so caring and loving. Anytime I've had to have blood drawn, I always pray for somebody that really cares and not just, there because it's a job to them. And for the most part, all the times that I've had to have that happened to me. It's been with ease and grace. And I have to tell you, I've had it quite a bit in my lifetime because I've had a lot of experiences with physical stuff going on where they had to poke me in the arm and sometimes in other places to get the blood. But we won't go there because I don't like even thinking about it. I want to see what Kuan Yin has to say. And she says, your path is before you now. Even if you sometimes lack confidence to trust in the path that you are upon, know this: you cannot miss your destiny. I shall guide your feet and inspire your heart to keep you true to your rightful divine life path. Trust me, trust yourself. Take your journey now. That's awesome. I love this card for all of us. And when I apply it to myself, I know that I can trust Kuan Yin. I know that everything that's happening right now during my journey, it's all by divine design. And it all is happening in divine timing. And that's what I'm seeing. On this journey, I can look back and I see the divine timing of every place I've been, everything that's happening. And I'm just in joy and enthralled with this journey. I just love everything. Gloria says, what is phlebotomy? That word, phlebotomy. And Teri just explained it. Yeah, it's that person that takes your blood. I call them Dracula. There was a time, 12 years of my life, that I volunteered for somebody to take my blood on purpose. I was part of a research program because after my kidney transplant, I only took the medication for 6 years that I was supposed to take my whole life. They told me I couldn't come off of that medication, and I did. I weaned myself off of it. And so I was a rarity in the world because not many people could do that. So there was a doctor, a very brilliant doctor at Emory University in Atlanta, who said, oh, I wonder if there's anybody that can survive without this medication. And he found a handful of us throughout the world who stopped taking the medicine for one reason or another. For some, it was financial. For others like me, I just can't take medicine. My body doesn't allow it. So he gathered us together for 12 years. We would go in once a year and have our blood drawn. And I'm not talking about like the normal when you go to a doctor and they take a vial or two of your blood. They would take this whole cart full and drained a lot of blood for research purposes. And there were times I felt like I was going to pass out, but I always got the best phlebotomists that just were gentle. They knew what they were doing, and it wasn't a bad experience at all. I couldn't watch them. I still can't watch somebody put a needle in my arm. I just can't. I probably could, but it's very difficult for me because I was on dialysis for 8 months. And if you know anything about dialysis, especially the way it was done in the old days when I was on it, it's no fun because you're stuck every time with these needles, and not little needles either. So yeah, I became very squeamish about somebody putting a needle in my arm. Sally said, my sister was not only my bully at times, but also my best friend. Is that what they call balance? I think there's other words for that too, but yeah, this probably is balance. And Kathy says, yeah, 2 of them are divorced and never remarried, bitter. One is married, but she is a bully to him as well. Yeah, isn't it interesting, the lessons we come here to learn in our lifetimes? And there's a lesson in there, whatever that is for that person. they chose to be that personality. They chose to learn whatever lesson you learn from bullying others, and for it's all about control. And that's what a bully is. They're just trying to exert control over you, and they do it really well, don't they? At least the ones that I've had in my life. And Annie loves this beautiful card. It totally resonates. I see that, Annie. I see that for you. So trust, like Kuan Yin says, trust me, trust yourself, and take your journey. Simple. I'm working on the book diligently. I think I'm about 70 blogs away from having it totally in one document where I can then work with it to put it into a book. And as I reviewed some of these, the lessons were just tremendous. I mean, having read through the majority of the year of the blogs, I see the wisdom of these angels. I see how they took us to so many places with what they were teaching us, and everyday life lessons. So, some of them are really big. They're really huge lessons, but for the most part, they're helping us every day of our journey. And so when this book comes out, I hope that you all are really going to pay attention to those lessons that they gave us. And I just see so many blessings coming from just opening the book and letting them speak to you every day, and seeing how prolific they are and how amazingly it always just applies to our life. It always is something that shows up for us when we most need it. And Kathy says to Jean L'Oreal, yep, the skilled phlebotomist draws the blood, then takes the samples to the lab, where the lab techs like me analyze the blood. Yeah, it's all a process. And Kathy says, yes, I work basically for the clinic and research groups at the National Institutes of Health for cancer and infectious disease research. So you were one of the people that got my blood and said, oh, look at this. Isn't she special? And I felt special when they would bring me in. They'd fly me into Atlanta once a year and treated me like a queen. I mean, I had a beautiful hotel room and anything I wanted while I was there. They really treated me like royalty. They picked me up from the airport. I had a limo ride from the airport to the conference center where I stayed. And it was just amazing being treated like that for 12 years. And the only reason they stopped doing it was because of COVID. Once COVID kicked in and we went into lockdown, they're like, oh, we got to end this now. And I don't know that they have started anything back up, but I do know that they have published in the medical journals. I think Dr. Newell posted like at least 3 papers in the medical journal showing that, yes, there actually was a difference in people like me who don't take anything at all after an organ transplant. And there's a difference in the makeup of our cells as compared to people that have to take the medicine, or they'll reject the organ. It doesn't have to be a kidney. The work was just about transplants in general. And interestingly, they called us tolerant patients. I was like, oh, okay. I sometimes don't think I'm very tolerant, but that's what the term was for those of us who tolerated the organ in our body, and the body just accepted it as its own and didn't try to boot it out of there. And Kathy says, and Teri, I can understand why you fear that needle. I see firsthand how many vials of blood are drawn on those poor research patients. Yeah, there were times when it was like 20, and I'm not kidding, 20 vials of blood. And I had one nurse that, oh my gosh, she was just so beautiful. And she asked the doctor, are you sure you need this much blood? because she was like, I'm going to drain all her blood. And there actually were times, you guys, when they had to switch arms. And I thought that was interesting. And Kathy, you probably understand that more than anybody. They would like tap out a vein and no more blood would come out. So they'd have to go to another arm and take blood from that arm. It was just a very interesting experience. Kathy says, we have people flown in from all over the country, plus other countries such as Africa, especially for the HIV and Ebola research. Yeah. Oh, Sally, you would have hit the floor. I'm telling you, it was no fun. But the only reason I stayed with it, and that I actually did it in the first place, was I thought, well, what if there are people that are taking these medications that don't need to be taking them? Because I argued with my doctor. My doctor actually fired me because I wouldn't do what he said and take the medication. But I lived. I didn't die because I went off the medication. And I'm not saying for anybody to do that with whatever you're going through. But my body told me, don't put that in me. It was killing me. It was really hurting me more than it was helping me. And so I listened to my body. And I still, to this day, listen to my body when something's happening. Kathleen said, you were brave, Teri. In high school biology, we had to take our own blood from our finger to find out what blood type we are. The boy I sat with was too scared to do it, so I offered to stick him. After his horrible scream, I realized I stuck his finger much too hard. The following week, we had to take more of our blood for another test. Instead of sticking him again, I gave him some of mine. I wanted to be a nurse. Maybe it's a good thing I didn't do that. Oh, Kathleen. Oh, well, your heart was in the right place. You just didn't know what to do or how to do it. But yeah, I see that. I would have screamed too, probably, if somebody stuck me. And when I was a kid, when I did it on purpose, I didn't scream. I just like squinched up my face. And Kathy says, I love what I do. Just wish I could retire in the next few years. Yeah. And Kathy said, yep, and each of the tubes hold up to 10 milliliters each. So imagine 20 of those 10 milliliter tubes. It's a lot of blood. Yeah, and I knew that. I would sometimes glance over at the cart and see how much they had already taken. And I'm like, do I have anything left? Like I'm giving you all I got here. And Ricky knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, Ricky, you've been through some stuff physically in your own life. And Sally says, bad veins. I don't give blood well. I finally had to direct them on how to get my blood with less pain. Yeah, there are some phlebotomists who know exactly the techniques and how to do it without hurting. I love them. I'm so grateful for them in my life when I do have to have blood work done. But yeah, it's not a fun thing at all. Well, let's go into our prayer time this morning. This time together has just flown by. And thank you all. Thank you for a wonderful conversation. You know, isn't it amazing how sometimes the blogs can just instigate a really good discussion, and we get what the angels are saying more prominently if we do engage in the conversation about the message that they give and what it is that they want us to know. And I just love that they gave it early enough last night that I got a lot of work done on the book before I finally closed my eyes a few hours ago. And Kathy Hans says, LOL, Kathy Caputo. In Labs Tech School, we learned to draw blood on each other. The girl who stuck me went deep and through my vein. I had to coach her to pull slowly back. Yeah, I've had them go through veins before, and that definitely is very painful. So let's go into our prayers. And if there's anyone that you want to put on that list, please do so. Those of you that follow Captain Corey, like I'm doing, this little guy over in England who his transplanted heart is failing. So it's just a matter of time. His mom did a beautiful post yesterday. They visited the hospice center there. And I know they're planning on going back, but right now it was just a visit. And she showed us so many beautiful places that they have outside, inside. And Corey he just loved it. He was just so beautiful standing there and posing and seeing that area that I guess he's going to be going into hospice when it gets to a certain point, or I don't know if they're coming to him. But I lift up little Corey every day. I just love his energy. And I know I put Kathleen in touch with his mom, and we're going to get a message and a bear to Corey. He's going to get a Hotto bear while he's still here on the Earth planet. So thank you, Deirdre. I'm so happy you're here. She says prayers for all humans, for Gaia and world peace, and attention to human trafficking. Thank you for that. Suzanne says, I hope I still have it in me. I drew blood and was really good at it. I can't use my medical assisting degree here in the US, but you're going to get a new one. And I'm so happy that you're going to go into that and get the training for it. It's actually not a training, it's just a revisiting, isn't it? And Kathleen is waiting for Pixie to come home to speak with her. She is such a delight. I just love this woman. She has such a beautiful outlook. And it's like, even though they know that Corey is going to pass, it's just a matter of when. And she just makes every day so special for him. And I hold her up with high regard for being able to handle that situation. Tony, good morning. Thank you for the hearts. Look at you, Tony. I hope you're feeling well, honey. And I know you're going through a lot physically right now. So we've got you front and center in our prayer circle. All right, so let's go into our hearts. Just take a breath in. If you do have somebody, type them in the comments, and I'll put them on our big prayer list. But for right now, let's just draw in a breath into our hearts. Let's remember everyone that's on our list, all of our families, our friends, those that have been brought to our attention for us to lift up to God, asking the Creator to see each prayer request, know our hearts, God, know that we bring these loved ones to you, asking for the best and highest good of all, the best outcome in each situation. We don't know what it is. We know what we want. We always ask, though, for the best and highest, because it might look totally different than how we envision it. But we know that we have faith, we have trust, and we're just going to leave them there. Just leave them in the hands of the Master, asking for angels to be with each one that needs something in some way, whether that's physical or emotional or mental. And then we lift each other. What a beautiful, beautiful experience to be together, to do this year after year, day after day, to come in just to love. Isn't that amazing? How many things in life do we do just to give love? So many times we have an agenda. We do things because we want a certain outcome. But when we come here, we just love. That's our only agenda. So let's do that heart telephone on the count of 3, 2, 1. Thank you. I love you. Oh, let me clear up the confusion then, Sally and Tony. And it was my mistake. This is my friend Tony in Florida that just came on and gave me like bunches and bunches of hearts. So my apologies to Tony De La Rosa and to Tony Hidalgo, my beautiful friend in Florida. And Tony, I just love you, both of the Tonys, but I don't get to see my Tony Hidalgo very much because I'm not in Florida that much anymore, which is a talk for another day because I may be there soon. I'm just throwing that out there. Julie Kiss, thank you. I love you. Suzanne, thank you all. Kathy Caputo, Deirdre, thank you for being here. I'm going to go fetch Leo. Let's see if I can find him. Yep, there he is. I hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. Whatever's going on in your life, make it fun. Do something that brings you joy and puts a smile on your face, because Marietta reminds us, spirit magnifies incredible loving energy when we smile. And Auntie Jean, I read your message, your gratitude to Marietta. What a beautiful, beautiful tribute to her. And thank you for doing that.
Good morning, Earthlings! It's time to get up and get ready, because today's the perfect day to have a great day. Here we go, come on! Come on, let's play, it's a beautiful day. If you woke up this morning, might as well be part of it. We're on a peace for peace, on a mission for harmony. You and me, mama, be on the lead, wherever we may be. We create a portal where we can be together. The heart telephone is always one phone call away. Calling on the guys, the angels and the masters. Take a deep breath, we're going into a new dimension. Morning cup full of joy, every day. To start the day on a high vibe, we call the AAA. Morning cup full of joy, with all the peas and the pod. The daily mantra is thank you, I love you, namaste. Morning cup full of joy, every day. To start the day on a high vibe, we call the AAA. Morning cup full of joy, with all the peas and the pod. The daily mantra is thank you, I love you, namaste. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me a cup full of. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me a cup full of. Full of joy, full of light, full of love. Bottomless refuse, spilling out from the top. Here, the coffee's always hot and the trust is always yours. The sun is calling out to play, let's put on a show. Today's a new day, we all part of this game. Let's play to win. Love always is the winning team. And you can side with us, there is always no space in the pot. For more love, take a spot and get the day started. Morning cup full of joy, every day. To start the day on a high vibe, we call the AAA. Morning cup full of joy, with all the peas and the pod. The daily mantra is thank you, I love you, namaste. Morning cup full of joy, every day. To start the day on a high vibe, we call the AAA. Morning cup full of joy, with all the peas and the pod. The daily mantra is thank you, I love you, namaste. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me a cup full of. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me a cup full of. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me a cup full of. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me a cup full of. There really is no secret. We simply accept, align, allow. AAA, morning cup full of joy, every day. To start the day on a high vibe, we call the AAA. Morning cup full of joy, with all the peas and the pod. The daily mantra is thank you, I love you, namaste. Morning cup full of joy, every day. To start the day on a high vibe, we call the AAA. Morning cup full of joy, with all the peas and the pod. The daily mantra is thank you, I love you, namaste. Give me a cup full of joy. Give me me Cuppa joy. Give me joy, Cuppa full of joy. Give me joy, give me Cuppa joy. Give me joy, give me Cuppa joy. Give me Cuppa joy.
Woo! Thank you, Leo. Good morning, John Thaddeus Fiore and Kathy. That's a lot of years. Congratulations on that. All right. Wow, this has been beautiful and amazing and powerful this morning. And I just hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. Go out and do something fun. I know, Kathy, you said you were doing laundry, but whatever we're doing, we can add some love in there. Tell that laundry, I love you. Thank you. Thank you, machine, for giving me fresh clothes. Whatever it is, go into it with that kind of attitude that it's something that you're going to uplift the energy of, and just watch what happens, because it always comes back. Whatever energy we put out, it comes back. I mean, you saw the example that I gave. What we focus on, we get. And I want to focus on good stuff in my life. I want to focus on having the very best experience possible. So love yourself, love your experiences, love on each other, and go have a blessed day. I will see you all later. Namaste, y'all. Bye, everyone.